move now on to rugby, and Dave, Crichton is in the studio. Not much rugby this weekend, but some news of Ramsey first of all, because their promotion spot has been guaranteed. They'll be in that sister league. They've made it into the vital top 7 positions.
Yeah, I was describing this in the members' newsletter last night as a pools panel stroke Duckworth-Lewis method of calculating the results. Not all the fixtures have been played in the first phase of the competition, which made it very difficult for the league organisers. They've eventually decided on a formula where you take the total number of points scored, divide it by the maximum number of points from the games played, and make that into a percentage, and they rank the teams on that percentage.
It's a good job I was not on that committee, I think, then.
Well, as always, these type of decisions never suit everybody, and clearly it suited Ramsey, but the two sides that have missed out were Liverpool University medical students for one, and I think Prenton was the other one, and those two just never quite got through enough games to get the results they needed. And it's really harsh on those two sides to have things arbitrarily decided, but ultimately it is what it is. Ramsey will move on into phase 2 of the competition. Their first fixture away at Mossley Hill in a week's time. That'll be a toughie because they've lost at Mossley Hill both home and away in phase 1. So a little bit more hard work to do just yet, but pleasing that to got through the first hurdle really, and onwards and upwards.
So first game then for Ramsey in that sister league on the 17th of February. But more pressing matters for them this weekend. Twickenham final the incentive in their RFU National Vars Pool 1 match. They're away at Crichton this weekend.
Yeah, Crichton, it's just outside Carlisle, right on the M6, which is handy for travelling, but it's an early morning flight to Liverpool. 3.5 hours on the coach up, play the game, and 3.5 hours back just to make the last flight home. Long day travelling for the lads. I'm sure they're all looking forward to it. Not. But Crichton, unknown quantity, they're a non-league side. They've not had the best of seasons so far. They're playing in a Cumbria Merit League, which is a sort of equivalent of the Shimon Wilson Manx Shield competition. We've got a few second teams in there as well. They haven't played since, I think, the first week in January. The games have been postponed due to pitch problems. And I think they've won 3 from 10 or something like that, 4 from 10. So the season's not been going well for them. So Ramsey have got a very strong squad gone away, and they'll hope to come back with a big W after their name and progress to the next round of the competition. We know conditions in Cumbria are going to be a bit iffy tomorrow. We've got the possibility of overnight frost. That I've got my fingers crossed for, because there's no refund on these airfares. The club's had to fund the travel itself, and it's about £3,000 has gone on tomorrow's game. And if it doesn't get played for any reason, it's an unmitigated disaster, I guess is the best way to describe it. But fingers crossed. Crichton say the pitch is okay. They didn't play on it last week. It will be a bit soft. I think that's probably an understatement. It's going to be like a swamp, I would imagine. But you've got to play with what's in front of you, and I'm sure the guys will knuckle down and get on with it. Good news for the team. Charlie Bovenizer, Ali Trace, both over there in the UK already. They're going to come into the squad. Matthew Meakin's back into the second row. And one of last season's form players for Ramsey, Anthony Ferguson, he's been busy building his own house. He comes back into the squad this week. He'll be on the bench tomorrow. But with Big Fergie in the side, there's going to be plenty of grunt in the second row. He's a big unit and gets himself around the park too. So got me high hopes for a win tomorrow. A difficult game perhaps in 2 weeks' time.
And I said the incentive is to get to Twickenham, but Dave Keenan's already going to be there this weekend. How annoyed will the rest of the squad be if they travel all the way to Crichton and the match isn't on and they haven't been able to get to any of the Six Nations?
Yeah, I'm sure the Crichton will have a warm welcome on at the clubhouse. If for any reason the game's not played, they'll have a big screen in there. The lads will enjoy the game on the games on the TV. But it's a cup week in National Rugby. That's why there's no league matches for Douglas Ramsey or Vagabonds this week. And it gives everybody a chance to do a little bit of Six Nations watching as well, which is very popular at this time of the year.
Apart from, though, the Shimon Wilson Manx Shield players, Douglas Celts up against Vagabonds B this weekend. Celts by far and away the favourites for this clash.
I would imagine so. They're the defending champions. They've been in pretty unstoppable form this season. They've slipped up just once against Southern Nomads in an earlier Shield competition. probably means the Manx Shield's destined for a tie at the end of the season between Douglas Celts and Southern Nomads. That'll go to a one-off playoff game on a neutral ground. Both sides do have to win their remaining matches between now and then, though, and I think Douglas Celts, with the pace and power they've got, should make light work of Vagabonds B, who, to be fair, have blown a little bit hot and cold, but I don't think even at their hottest of hot, they've got quite enough in the tank to deal with Douglas Celts.
So it should be, well, if you go true to form, it's a fairly one-sided game in favour of Douglas Celts, but a much closer game in the other fixture in the Shimon Wilson Manx Shield. Ramsey B travel to Emerging Nomads.
Yeah, that's the game I'll be covering for Saturday Live tomorrow. I'll be down in the deep south, Banjo country, and we'll be kicking off there at 2:15. I'm expecting it close, but Southern Nomads, they were scheduled to play Western Vikings, their first team, tomorrow, and that game's been called off. Vikings are struggling a little bit. They've got a large party, I think, away at Six Nations, so you might find that Southern Nomads a little bit stronger than, Emerging Nomads a little bit stronger. They'll be able to use their first team bench players, so that might make it a little bit more of a contest. But on paper, you have to fancy Nomads. They've won the earlier match between the two sides, but Ramsey just starting to get a little bit of form. Unfortunately, there's not enough of the players training regularly to make it really competitive, but if they can pick up where they left off last week, they finished quite strongly against Douglas Celts. They'll give Nomads a run for their money.
Dave Crichton, as always, thanks very much.